Hi, I'm James Brundage. I'm a tester on the Windows PowerShell team, and today I'm going to walk you through a quick little multi-touch finger paint that I built in about 30 lines of PowerShell script using the Windows Presentation Foundation PowerShell Kit, WPK. WPK is part of the Windows 7 resource kit and will be available with the CD and online shortly after mid-October. So here is my TouchSmart TX2, and the TouchSmart TX2 is one of the computers that is multi-touch enabled with Windows 7. And I can use this little program that I wrote in about 30 lines of script to do a very quick little finger paint. As you can see, I have a random color that follows my finger around, and when I lift my finger up, it all fades away. So doing this in compiled code is quite a lot of work, but because I've consolidated some of the common functionality into scripts that are available as part of WPK, this is actually a really short thing to write. So without further ado, I'm going to close this out and show you the 30 lines and walk through how to write them yourself. So we start out by creating a new window because, well, we got to draw the do the multi-touch finger paint somewhere. The title of the window is Multi-Touch Finger Paint. It's a maximized window, and it has a resource dictionary. And this at here is the beginning of a hash table in PowerShell. So a resources dictionary is any arbitrary amount of data that you'd like to stuff into a window. And in this case, I'm going to state that I want a new dictionary in there called styluses. And I'm going to use this dictionary later to cache each finger as it makes contact with the screen so that I keep track of all the different lines on the screen at a given point. So the first thing that I do when I load the window is I pipe $this, which is the current object, in this case the current window, to enable multi-touch. And what enable multi-touch does is it registers the particular window to accept more than one finger input at a time. So now the on stylus down, on stylus move, and on stylus up events will respond to each individual finger contact as they go down instead of ignoring everything but the first finger. So when the stylus first goes down, I go ahead and capture my cached resources of styluses, and I go ahead and use $underbar, which is the event arguments to the stylus down, and I use the getPosition method to get the position of my finger relative to the canvas. The canvas is the window, that's $this is content, so I don't refer to it directly by name. Then I pick a random color, and I just do this with a list of strings: black, red, blue, green, orange, dark red, midnight blue, maroon, saddle brown, and I pipe those to getRandom. And getRandom actually takes any arbitrary list of objects and will return back a random one or more than one random one from the pipeline. And I'm using this to pick which color I'm going to create, or the line's going to be. Then what I do is I create the line itself. And again, I'm here with one of the new commands. In WPK, every UI element that you're ever going to deal with is originally going to boil down to a new. So the new polyline is a UI element that's built into WPF, and what that UI element allows you to do is to have a line with any number of points, which is exactly what we need. As we move our finger around, a new point will be added to each of the lines. So the line is a stroke thickness of 3 to make sure it's easy to see. And I use $color, which is, again, a random one of these colors, to define what color it will be. And points is going to be the list of the initial points in the system. In this case, it's just $origin, which was the first position of my finger. Then I take the styluses dictionary, and I use $underbar, again, that's the event arguments, and it has a property called stylus device, which in turn has a property called ID, which will uniquely identify each finger as it touches the screen. It's important to note that while it uniquely identifies the finger while it's down, it doesn't uniquely identify the finger again. So the computer at this point is incapable of telling the difference apart between my first finger and my second finger. That is, it can't tell whether it's the index, middle, pinky, left, right, anything. So you shouldn't rely on the stylus ID for anything more than the number of contacts that are down at any given point and the cached information about that particular contact or line that you're drawing, which is what I'm using it for here. And I'm going to go ahead and create another dictionary here, and this dictionary contains just the line that I'm drawing that I created right here. So this effectively completes caching it within the UI, which means that everywhere else I'll be able to reference this line later. And then I'm going to use another commandlet called add child control. What add child control will do is we'll actually add a UI element to a container, and in this case the canvas that is in the window. Again, $this is content. When the stylus moves here, I'm going to go ahead and first locate my dictionary of styluses, and then I'm going to go use $underbar and the stylus device's ID to get back the line that I drew in the first stylus down. I'm going to resolve the point just like I did with origin up here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add it to the list of points in the line. And this is a little bit of PowerShell familiarity right here. Most of the time in PowerShell, when you run a method, if that method produces results, those results will be outputted. So I put a $null equals in front of the method so that those results are hidden from the user. And that's all that I do every time the stylus moves. And finally, when the stylus goes up, I go ahead and re-resolve my list of styluses, get my individual line, and then I pipe it to something called move control. And move control is something that's also built into the WPK. And move control is built to make animations easier. Move control takes any number of UI elements from the pipeline and will move them to a particular position or perform an effect like a fade in and a fade out. In this case, I'm not going to move them anywhere. I'm just going to fade them out over a duration of half a second here. And then I'm going to remove them from this cache. And the only thing left in my UI is what's actually in the window, which is a canvas. And that's the content of new window. And there we go. I use -as job to run it in the background so that I can keep finger painting while doing other things. And I'm going to go ahead and run this. And the multi-touch finger paint is done in 30 lines of PowerShell script. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope this helps. Thanks.